Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam tasliman kathiran kathira. Amma ba'du. My brothers and sisters, as I speak to you today, our earth has completed 364 rotations around its own axis and almost completed one revolution around our star, the sun. This is what we call time. This is our life. And it ends when the time for us runs out. I remind myself and you, and I advise myself and you to become overcomers. To become overcomers. I want to speak to you about this today and next Juma, inshallah. Become overcomers. Why? Because in life, only overcomers are rewarded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who rewards effort, but not this world. In this world, you get rewarded for results only. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about effort in dunya and the akhirah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأن ليس للإنسان إلا ما سعى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that a person can have nothing except what he does. Means that the reward of what he does is based on the effort he makes. Overcomers are the only people who get rewarded. Overcomers are rated by the magnitude of the challenge they overcame. The bigger the challenge, the greater the honor. Now, Mount Everest is 8 kilometers tall. If I walk 10 kilometers and claim that I should be given an award because I walked more than Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, who were perhaps the first people to scale the peak of Everest, people will laugh at me. If I try to argue and say that they and I, after all, we walked on the earth, I mean, they didn't fly or something, people will laugh even louder. Because it is not the distance on the earth which matters, but the angle of the earth, which makes their feat memorable and inspirational. If they had tried to climb but failed to reach the peak, nobody would have remembered. If they had gone up in a helicopter and been dropped on the peak, it wouldn't count as scaling the mountain. The difficulty of the task is what makes it honorable and worthwhile. So the first thing to ask yourself is, what is my internal conversation with myself? To listen to that, you must switch off the external noise that we have willingly inflicted on ourselves. You can listen to your heart or you can listen to your phone. You can't do both. What are you telling yourself? What is your internal conversation? Are you saying, when you look at the world and you see the enormity of the challenges that face us, are you saying, I can succeed? Or are you saying, there is no point even in trying because I will surely fail? Both statements are not fact. They are hopes. But for you, both can come true depending on which one you want to use and which one you use most often. My dear friend Dr. Fridolin Stari tells me that in German, in the German language, there is a saying, hope dies last. We must never allow hope to die. We must continue to hope and to work to make that hope a reality. So ask, what are you saying to yourself inside? That is where it begins. Our internal conversation depends on our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because it is based on tawakkul. Tawakkul is the outcome of taqwa, and taqwa is the result of the hub, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we love Allah, Jalla Jalaluhu, the more we fear to displease Him, which is taqwa, and the more we rely on Him, which is tawakkul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described this, and He described these stages in Surah Al-Anfal, where He said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, which means the believers are only those who, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned, their hearts shiver with the awe and majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when the ayat of the Quran are recited unto them, the ayat, increase their faith and they put their trust in their Rabb Jalla Jalaluh. Let us ask ourselves, what must have been going on in the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he stood on Safa and he called his people to Islam? When he called them Wa Subaha, what was in his heart? What sustained him and supported him was his connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was real to him. Allah was real to him. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma narrated that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wake up for tahajjud, he would say, Allahumma lakal hamd, anta qayyimus samawati wal ardi wa man fihin, wa lakal hamd, laka mulku samawati wal ardi wa man fihin, wa lakal hamd, anta nuru samawati wal ardi, wa lakal hamd, أنت الحق ووعدك الحق ولقاؤك حق وقولك حق وجنة حق والنار حق والنبيون حق ومحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم حق والساعة حق اللهم لك أسلمت وبك آمنت وعليك توكلت وإليك أنبت وبك خاصمت وإليك حاكمت فاغفر لي ما قدمت وما أخرت وما أسررت وما أعلنت أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت. And this is in Sahih Bukhari. This beautiful dua, it means, O Allah, all praise and all thanks for you. You are the establisher of the heavens and the earth, and whatever is in them. All praise and all thanks for you. You have the possession of the heavens and the earth, and whatever is in them. All praise and all thanks for you. You are the light of the heavens and the earth. And all praise and all thanks for you. You are the truth, Antal Haq. And your promise is the truth, Wa'dakal Haq. And the meeting with you is truth, Waliqa'uka Haq. Your word is the truth, Qawlukal Haq. And Jannah is true, Al Jannatu Haq. And the fire is true, An-Naru Haq. And all the prophets, peace be upon them, are true, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is true. And the day of resurrection is true. O Allah, I surrender my will to you. I believe in you and depend on you and repent to you, and with your help I argue with my opponents, and I take you as a judge to judge between us. Please forgive my previous and future sins and whatever I concealed or revealed. And you are the one who raises some people to stations of honor and lower others. And there is none to be worshipped but you. La ilaha illa ant. My brothers and sisters in Islam, our problem is that for us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah save us from this and This is for those for whom it is true. It's time to wake up. Our problem is that for us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a concept, is an idea, is a thought. Is Allah real for us? This is what we need to ask ourselves this question. We need to ask ourselves, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala real for us? The sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is real for us lies in our actions. Those for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is real never disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they never do anything to displease Him Jalla Jalaluhu. That is what taqwa is. It is not fear of Allah, but the fear of displeasing the one we love the most. The most difficult thing to do is to change people's minds and beliefs and attitudes. That was the task. But that was the task that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to His beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was given this task but no material help to achieve his goal. That is why even someone like the French historian Alphonse de Lamartine, who was very critical of Islam, said in his book History of Turkey about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astonishing results are the three criteria of human genius, who would dare compare any great man in history with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And this is a statement by someone who was not a friend of Islam. That is where the issue of certainty of belief comes in. The first and most differentiating quality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's attitude in his da'wah, in his invitation to Islam, was his total certainty in the truth and worth of his message. Without that, he could never have sustained his effort and continued to give his utmost consistently in the face of almost no sign of success. That is the power of purpose. When you know your purpose, that strengthens you like nothing else, like no other. It helps you to keep the focus, not to get distracted, and to fight fear. Mark Twain said, every man has two birthdays, the day he was born and the day he discovers why. I remind myself and you that we know the day that we were born. But do we know why we were born? Do we know our purpose? What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create me for? What did Allah create you for? What am I supposed to accomplish in my life on which I will be judged? What am I supposed to accomplish in my life based on which I will be judged? Sit in silence and ask yourself three questions. First one, why do I exist? Why do I exist? Second one, what will be lost and for whom when I leave this world? And third one, what am I doing to fulfill the reason I exist, to fulfill the purpose of my existence, my creation? Remember, my brothers and sisters, this can take a long time, but it is the most important thing that you can do and will give you the most powerful results going forward from today. It doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is if you want your life to be worthwhile or not. That will be your real birthday. Not the day you were born, but the day you discover why. A life lived to fulfill a great and noble purpose is the life of a human being. A life lived to fulfill every desire, every whim, every fancy is the life of an animal. We get to choose which one ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defined for us our purpose in life. And He said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينُ. In Surah Al-Dhariyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and I, Allah, created not the jinn and humans except that they should worship me. I seek not any provision from them, provision for themselves or my creatures, nor do I ask that they should feed me or my creatures. Verily, Allah is the all-provider, the owner of power, the strongest. It really is very simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to please Him. He created the rest of the world to serve those who please Him. When we are focused on pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything falls into place. We are content, we are respected, we have influence, we live in harmony with others, and we are happy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, سَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah said, I have given in your control everything in the heavens and the earth. For what? To whom? To those who disobey Him or those who please Him? So when we live according to the purpose that Allah made us for, we are content, we are respected, we have influence, we live in harmony, and we are happy. When we try to get all of these things on our own without regard to whether our actions please Allah or not, we get stressed, we are anxious and fearful and humiliated and depressed. It makes no sense to chase what Allah has already written for us and ignore what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us in control of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote for us whatever He wants for us in this life and gave us the power to write whatever we want for ourselves in the akhirah. If we understand this and act on it, we will be content in this life, and inshallah we will get Jannah in the akhirah. If not, the opposite is the likely consequence. The choice is ours. Someone asked Imam Hassan al-Basri, rahmatullah alayh, how he lived a life of total contentment and was not stressed about anything. He said 4 things. He said, I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me to worship Him and that nobody else can do it for me. So I concentrate on worshipping Allah. That is the first one. Number 2, he said that I know that what Allah has written for me, nobody else can take. So I don't worry about that. He didn't say I don't work. He said I don't worry about that. I don't stress out about that. Number 3, he said I know that one day I will die. So I prepare for that. And number 4, and I know that Allah is watching me, so I am ashamed to do anything that displeases Him, Jalla Jalaluhu. I remind myself and you, my brothers and sisters, to reflect on this, because the purpose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Hassan al-Basri is the same purpose He created us for. So let us reflect on the purpose of our lives. Islam doesn't stop us from doing anything in the dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to live in this world and to enjoy what it has to offer. And He created the boundaries for that enjoyment. Those are His prohibitions. As long as our actions are within those boundaries and we stay away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited, this will count towards the deeds that will earn Jannah for us. The opposite is equally true. The choice is ours. So let us choose wisely. Very important. Keep a writing pad and pencil handy. Write down your thoughts about your purpose. I say pencil because you will want to erase some things and write them over. Do that. Don't hesitate. Finally, get to a statement of not more than 1 line, say 8 or 10 words, which describes your purpose. Don't try to do this on your devices. Use paper and pencil. There is something about writing that invokes the power of the brain that doesn't happen with the phone or the tablet. Write. This also distinguishes us from animals. Take as long as you need, but stick with it until you get your purpose statement. Keeping the purpose statement in front of you, ask yourself, what are the 3 things that I need to do in order of priority going forward? Remember, we are not looking at fulfilling the purpose as in end result. We are not looking at fulfilling the purpose as in end result. We are looking at the road, the process that will take us forward. Think about this. If you are driving to a destination, say you are going to Logan Airport in Boston, when you leave West Springfield, you don't look for signs for Logan Airport. There are no signs for Logan Airport near West Springfield. You look for the sign of the next town in that direction. And then from there you go to the next town and the next town until you are close to Boston and you start seeing signs for Logan. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us to ask for the sirat, the way, the siratul mustaqim, the straight path, the path of steadfastness, the path of the prophets and those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Not the path of those who incurred Allah's anger or those who went astray. In Islam, both the path and the destination are equally important. Ways and means. So keep the purpose in front of you and ask, what is the first thing I need to do to achieve my purpose? That may be to change your wake-up time or your daily schedule or your friends list. Usually it is all three. And also, it can be painful. That is why you need to keep the purpose in front of you. It will remind you that it is worth the pain. And make dua to invoke the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jalla jalaluhu. Part 2 next Juma inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jalla jalaluhu to be pleased with all of us and never to be displeased, and help us to please Him throughout our lives and take us in a state when He is pleased with us. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahim.